Welcome! We're going to be learning an advanced level topic for today, but that doesn't mean you have to be advanced level yourself to follow along. For anyone that's wondering, this isn't even part of the lesson, but konde is not konde that we're learning today. This konde is a combination of kot plus ida plus the te form. Te meaning like and or but for connecting things together. Kot becomes ko, which is a common way that it can be shortened. Ida becomes inde normally, right, with the te form. So you get koinde becomes konde, and it can be kondeo if you're being polite. This is just a shortened version of koshinde. That's not the form we're learning today. So we're going to learn a very advanced form today, and that is konde. Okay, the way to make this form, you're going to want to pay attention to this. It's extremely intense. There are like 50 steps you need to remember in order to make this form. So the first step, write this down. The first step is you take an action verb stem. So like hada, you get the stem, which is just you remove ta. Okay, so you get the stem. Next, you add konde. I forgot the other 48 steps, but I think this is it. That's all you have to do to make this form. You don't use any other verb stem. You just use this regular verb stem. This never becomes like 했어요, like het 건데 or anything else like that. No exceptions. This form is used for one thing, when you are expressing your, so the speaker's own opinions. Now that can be their thoughts, their wishes, any opinion that they have. Again, it's for the speaker to express their own opinions about something. It's not for you to say someone else's opinions, but it's for your own opinions. It's used specifically with verbs that are related to expressing this. Okay, this is by no means a complete list of even the most common verbs you'll see this used with. There are a lot more. 생각하다, to think. 듣다, to hear. 보다, to see. Now this also includes 보다 when it's used as an auxiliary verb, when it's used in the form 보다, like trying something. 느끼다, to feel. 짐작하다, to guess, to estimate something. 원하다, to want. 바라다, to hope for or to wish for. And many, many more. This form has the meaning of whatever verb you use it with, saying something like this. I'll tell you what I 생각하다, think. I'll tell you what I 듣다, heard. 보다, see. 느끼다, feel. 짐작하다, guess. 원하다, want. 바라다, wish for or hope for. That's what this form means. Or what I verb is, what I hear is, what I want is, what I think is, what I feel is, like that. It has the nuance that the speaker is confessing something. Like, hey, I'll tell you what I think. Let me tell you what I heard. What I feel is... So it has the nuance of confessing something. It feels like someone is speaking in older style a bit. And because of that, this form kind of has a bit of a fancy nuance. So now I'm going to give you one example sentence. 개인적으로. 개인적으로 means personally. 바라다, to hope for or to wish for. So here we have 바라 is the verb stem. 건데, and we're done. That's all you have to do for conjugating it. So 개인적으로 바라건데. So I'm going to tell you what I wish for or hope for personally. So what I personally wish for is 길에, on the street. 쓰레기통 is trash can. 쓰레기통이 많이, a lot. 생기다 is to appear. 생겼으면 좋겠어요. So I wish that a lot of trash cans would appear on the streets is what it literally means. But it's how you say, I wish there were more, as in I wish there would be more trash cans on the streets. So what I personally hope for, or what I personally wish for, is that I hope that, 면 좋겠어요. I hope that there will be more trash cans in the streets. 개인적으로 바라건대 길에 쓰레기통이 많이 생겼으면 좋겠어요. So what I personally hope for is this. I wish that there would be more trash cans on the streets. 건데 is sometimes 건데. Generally, first of all, if you see a verb that ends with 하다, you can change it to 하건데. This can just shorten to 건데 without the ha. So you can get rid of the ha. In many cases, not all cases as we'll talk about, but generally, if you see a verb that ends with ha, you can change it to just 건데. So let me give you a couple examples. 생각하다, you would get 생각하건데. Or you can just get 생각건데. 짐작하다, 짐작하건데. Or you can just get 짐작건데. Now, it cannot always shorten when it's 하건데 to just 건데. And we're going to talk about why and when, but I just want you to first open your mind to the fact that it can in many cases. I'm going to give you 2 examples of where this happens. 부탁하다 is to request or to ask for something. So here we'd have 부탁하건대, which is normally what you can do. 부탁하건대. Or you can shorten it to 부탁건대. So what I would request of you is, or what I ask of you is, 여기에, here, 쓰레기를 버리다, to throw away trash. 버리지 말아주세요. So please don't throw away trash here. So what I ask for is to please not throw trash here. 부탁건대 여기에 쓰레기를 버리지 말아주세요. 옷차림 would be someone's clothing, someone's dress. So 옷차림으로 짐작 is 짐작하다, which is to guess or assume. So 짐작하건대, 짐작건대, same thing. So let me tell you what I guess or assume from or by their clothing. So by looking at their clothing, what I can assume is 이 사람은, this person, 고려 시대 is the 고려 period, which was the years 918 to 1392. That was the 고려 dynasty. So 고려 시대 사람, a person from the 고려 dynasty, they are. So what I assume from their dress or from their clothing is that this person is someone from the Goryeo dynasty. So this might be like an archaeologist would say this. They're like dusting off the bones and they see like the clothing and everything. And they're like, 옷차림으로 짐작건대 이 사람은 고려 시대 사람이네요. So based on what I assume from their dress, the way they're dressed, their clothing, is that this person is someone from the Goryeo dynasty. So we saw that 하건대 can become 건대, but not always. 하건대 can also shorten to something else. 건대. First of all, how could 하건대 become 건대? Well, you have to keep something in mind. This letter in Korean is not an H, but the only time you even hear this letter is if it's at the very beginning of a word. So let me give you an example. For telephone, 전화. No one will ever say 전화 because it's not an H. This letter is only air. So what do you get when you add air to the verb 하다? 하다. That's when it becomes an H. That's when it kind of sounds like an H. 하다. Although I'm saying it a little bit exaggerated for effect. But what about here for telephone? 전화. It is 전화 if you're saying it slowly, but if you're saying it as one word, that H, 전화, it goes away because all it ever was is extra air. So why is this important? 하건대. Well, let's just say this is extra air here. 건대, 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 건대. This is a normal sound change rule. When you get this letter plus any of the base consonants like hyuk, they become their strong versions. So you get hyuk. We don't need to talk about the others. So if you have a word like for peppermint, pak, it's not ha, pak, ha. Remember, it's just air, pak, ha. You get the sound of, naturally, you get the sound of pak, ha. If you just say it to yourself, you'll realize why it makes that sound. Pak, ha, pak, ha. Ka, pa, ka. It naturally makes that sound. The same thing is happening here. This here combines with this letter here and it creates this konde naturally. So when you get hagonde, konde, 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 it naturally becomes konde. It doesn't, however, in certain cases, as we just saw with those other verbs where it simply becomes konde. And we'll talk about why. So 고민하다 is to be concerned, to be worried about something. 고민하건대. Totally fine. But if you want to shorten this, it does not become 고민건대. It becomes 고민건대, 고민건대, 고민건대. Why? Because that hiat sound, the extra air, combines with this. Again, you might be thinking, why doesn't it in the other cases? And I'll talk about that in a second. But just think about why it does first. 고민건대, 고민건대. There's no space. One 하건대 is fine. But 하건대, 건대, one 건대 is what you're left with. This one also becomes one 건대. Again, no space. So when does it get shortened to 건대 and when does it just get shortened to 건대? If the final syllable of that word ends with the consonants 기역, 피읍, or 시옷, then it becomes 건대, not 건대. This is just something you have to write down. And if it doesn't, it's going to shorten to konde. Let's take a look at this one example again. So Again, I said that it doesn't apply for these three, but what about the why? Why? So we have 생각하건대. So again, we have 하건대. So you can kind of think of it like as there's air when you're shortening it. The air is still remaining. So why don't we get 생각건대? Because there is already that rule taking place right here. Remember how I said that this hiat makes sounds stronger. When you say this sound quickly, you are not left with just air here. What you get is this. 생각하건대. 생각하건대. You are using this air in here. It is not left over. There is no air then left to affect this ending. So you're left with, if you want to shorten it, you're left with 생각건대. That's it. Any sound like this already has eaten that H sound, that air. That's the reason why it happens, I think. Now, I couldn't confirm this on the internet because no one is as much of a language geek as me to care to write up why this happens, but this is my best guess as to why it doesn't work with these, because these sounds already would eat that sound. But with other syllables, there is leftover air. 원하건대 for 원하다. It's left over. This does not eat it because there's nothing that it could do to it. You just get 원하건대, 원건대. So you're left with that air, which then can affect this when you remove it. So that's why it does for some verbs and doesn't for other verbs. You don't really have to memorize exactly which verbs it does and which ones it doesn't. You just have to memorize this because this is the easy shortcut. So that's my opinion as to why it happens. 원컨대. Again, 원하건대. 원하건대. 원컨대. 원컨대. So 원하다, to want. So let me tell you what I really want is 제게도. This is 저에게도. So also to me, 가르침 is teachings. 가르침을 주다 is to teach me, to give me teachings, literally. So what I want is for you to teach me as well. 원컨대 제게도 가르침을 주세요. So what I want is for you to please give me your teachings as well. This 요하다 is shortened from 요약하다, which is the word for to summarize something. So 요컨대 is, in short, let me summarize it for you. 철수는 잘못한 게 없다. 잘못하다 is to make a mistake, to do something wrong. 개 as in 것이, something that 철수 did as a mistake, did wrong. 없다는 거예요. So in short, 철수 did nothing wrong. 요컨대 철수는 잘못한 게 없다는 거예요. In short, 철수 did nothing wrong. 단연컨대, 단연하다 is to assure someone, to promise someone. 단연컨대 이 경기는, so this game, 경기 is like a sports game, like a match. 이기다 is to win. 이길 수 없어요. So I assure you that they cannot win this match. 단언컨대 이 경기는 이길 수 없어요. So I assure you that they cannot win this match. That is it. That is the whole lesson. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.